Atish, you mentioned reasoning long-term bets, which brings to the next question. And Shannon, I want to get your take here. I think globally, like I'm curious about how both you individually within your functions make decisions on like what feature or bet to make, like what makes it a go or a no go. And would love to learn like how you prioritize or determine like this next step within your organizations, like especially in like the world where optimizing for different parts of the organization could have like competing priorities or competing incentives. So Shannon, would love to bring you in there, like talk to us about your decision making process.
I thought what Atish said around just like, hey, it's really important to anchor on like what is the long term problem that you're trying to solve. I think that applies like across the company, regardless of kind of like what your focus like area is, right? I mean, I would say for mobile, right? Like we have a couple of like long-term kind of like problems that we have to solve, right? So one is around members, right? And so with members, we want the mobile app to kind of be, we want its superpower to be the place that you can consume content from your favorite creator and engage with it, and also creators feel like their content is almost kind of like on like a pedestal. It's almost like walking into like a boutique store as opposed to kind of walking into like say like Old Navy where the jeans are like all over the place. Nothing against Old Navy, but I think I mean if you think of like creators as artists, that's really how they want their content to be showcased, right? So I think like for this use case, it's having a good idea of like, okay, like where you want to go like long term here, and then having kind of like a good starting point. I would say in the case of the mobile app, the mobile hasn't historically been a focus at Patreon. The apps existed for, I want to say, like 4 or 5 years, but it was only an app with a couple of engineers working on it, and so there were a lot of like gaps in it. A lot of members didn't even know we had a mobile presence, and so it boils down to like priorities. And so the first priority is just like, hey, like shoring up, kind of the things that members would expect out of the app, right? I think what members expect out of the app is they expect to be able to unlock the full value of, say, their membership, which is primarily around like content and engagement with that creator. And then kind of like from there, like, hey, helping the app kind of like find like a place in folks' lives. And what I mean by this is like kind of like creating that like habit, right? Where I think any product that has like strong market fit, I mean, has a habit associated with it, right? And so whether that product is like Netflix, or whatnot, I think kind of like the long term thing for mobile is having a strong opinion around kind of like, hey, what are the habits that make sense kind of like in people's lives, right? For the better, and anchoring on that and building towards it.